There are so many ways to find strategic insights to use in your advertising. Online research, focus groups, interviewing people, reading through data, or sometimes you just happen to know a lot about your subject and just have some interesting insights already swimming around in your brain. We love when that happens. But for the times your brain doesn't have an interesting insight already handy, I'm going to share some of my favorite ways to research and identify insights. My first tip for finding insights is to be stupid. Stay with me, there's an actual technique here. I want you to think like an alien observing Earth. Forget any preconceived notions. Pretend you know absolutely nothing about this product, the industry, or the brand, and just keep asking yourself questions. Even if you think you know the answer, I want you to ask anyway. And never say no to any rabbit holes those questions may take you down. I'll share an example from my own work. I was working on a project for Zespri kiwi fruit, and as someone who hadn't eaten much kiwi at that point in my life, I knew this was a perfect time to use this be stupid technique. So I started by asking myself a whole lot of questions. Why is kiwi skin brown? Why is it fuzzy? Is all fruit fuzzy? Why are kiwis so small? What other fruit is that small? Where is kiwi fruit grown? Why is it grown in New Zealand over other places? How are they grown? What other fruit grows like that? Why do they have so many seeds? How are you even supposed to eat these things? You can see how one question led me to the next, and sometimes they were just random, and sometimes they were a little stupid. Things that I already know, but I just asked myself anyway. Because I would take all of those questions and then go research them online using the techniques I'm going to share in this video. Online reviews are a gold mine for insights. They're especially helpful for location-based brands. So Yelp, Google reviews, Facebook reviews, TripAdvisor, all of those are going to be your besties for this process. So read through the reviews for your specific brand, and if you have time, do the same thing for your competitors. And here's what to look for. Make note of the most common complaints. I like to start with the complaints because you know there's going to be some strong tension there. And tension can be a breeding ground for insights. Make note of the most commonly mentioned items or features in the positive reviews. That could be specific menu items for a restaurant, or maybe the place has a really great ambiance, or it's perfect for family outings, or maybe the service is impeccable. And pay attention to the specific language used in these reviews. For example, I worked on Crystal Burger pretty early on in my career, and reading through some reviews, I learned that their customers call the burgers gut bombs. But as I read through them more, I realized they were calling them gut bombs in a super loving way. It wasn't really a negative thing. Everyone who mentioned them as gut bombs still absolutely loved them. So we were able to use some of that terminology in some of the work that we did. Identifying specific language or terminology like that could result in a really cool campaign that the audience can really engage in because they helped create part of it. For product reviews, I like to look at different ways people are using the product, especially the uses that the brand maybe didn't foresee or intend. What do people do while using the product? Like, do they have little rituals? For a skincare product, for example, do they put the product in the fridge before they actually use it? Little things like that can be really insightful. So let's look at a few examples. I'll show you some reviews and explain the things that I personally would make note of if I were reading through these. And then I'll explain how I would turn those notes and findings into insights. Feel free to pause the video so you can read through the review and make your own notes and potential insights before I show you where I would go with it. Here's a positive Yelp review for a fast food place called Backyard Burgers. I liked this place. I had the onion rings and the classic burger. Food was A+ food. The onion rings were the best I had in a long time. Almost circled around to reorder more because they were that good. The only problem was because the food tasted so good, it did not last long. Yum, 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 gone. I would recommend this place to a friend or a relative. So there are two main things here that I would focus on. One is the sentence about the onion rings. It's a burger place, but this reviewer is mainly focused on the onion rings. So maybe the sides are the real stars of the show here. The other thing that stuck out to me was the second to last sentence about it not lasting long. So I'd write down that the negative to eating at this restaurant is how quick it's over. Now let's turn these two notes into insights. How could we write these to feel like more cultural or human truths that could spark a creative idea? For the onion ring part, I'd write something like, side items are sometimes more important than the entrees. And for the food being quick, I'd write something like, the last bite of a delicious meal is a sad moment. Are these the most groundbreaking insights in the world? No. But as a creative, I'd definitely be able to work with these and come up with a bunch of concept ideas. And all I did was elevate 2 notes from one review into statements that felt bigger and more about human emotion or behavior. Now let's look at some TripAdvisor reviews for a theme park. These reviews are for Elitch Gardens in Denver. And as you'll see from the reviews, this theme park is not the most impressive place. They do have a few roller coasters and big rides, but it's not even comparable to something like Six Flags, let alone Disney or Universal. These reviews are all 3 stars or less to show you how you can pull out some interesting tidbits from negative reviews. And sometimes insights are about turning negatives into a positive. So let's see how we can do that here. Screw this place, tiny and overpriced. Their food prices are more than Disneyland and the wait is 3 times as long. Ride selection is awful and most of them have an idiotic way to load and unload. Fun-ish. I've likely been spoiled by growing up in Ohio and then moving to New Jersey near Six Flags Great Adventure, but this park doesn't really do it for me. The coasters are fun, but not inventive, extreme, well-themed, or particularly memorable. I feel like most people I stood next to in line were talking about their past Universal or Disney vacations. Fun time, in lowercase. This place was fun, but sure wasn't no Six Flags. At least the lines were not that long on a Wednesday. Most of the employees were friendly. Alright, so not a lot of positive stuff to say here. Here are the things that stuck out to me. Fun-ish. I love that they use that descriptor. As a creative, my brain immediately started thinking about how we can use that word in a campaign. We know we can't compete with a Disney or Universal, so why try? What if we embraced the okayness of it? I love that. But if you wanted to write that into an insight statement, I'd say something like, people don't mind settling for okay when the price and time is right. Another thing that stuck out to me was the mention of the lines not being long on a Wednesday. A theme park is usually thought of as a weekend activity, but maybe this place isn't just for the weekends. People in Colorado would probably rather spend their weekends hiking up in the mountains anyway. So could this theme park be more of an after school or after work activity? Can we make this a weekday destination? To write that into an insight, I'd say something like, weekdays are only dull and unexciting because we save all the fun activities for the weekend. And one last thing that I made note of after reading all of these reviews was that there is no denying that this is a small park. So I asked myself questions about that. What are the benefits of being a small theme park? What do people dislike about the bigger parks? One insight could be, size isn't everything. Kidding, totally kidding. An actual insight that I might write for that would be, theme parks are supposed to be invigorating, but they usually just feel exhausting. Quick side note here. If you're a creative looking for insights to help come up with concepts, you most likely don't need to worry about crafting all of those notes into an actual insight statement. All you need is to find something interesting and get going on concepts. But with these techniques, you'll learn how to research and identify those good, insightful pieces to build on. I love looking through social media to find insights because social media is full of very vocal, opinionated people. You can look through the brand's social pages to find some interesting stuff. I like paying attention to the tone of the posts, how their followers are interacting with those posts. Like, look through the comment sections and see what people are saying and how they're interacting with it. And I also try to pay attention to which posts have the most interaction, because that gives me an idea of which element of the brand is the most engaging for their audience. Then I'll just do a general search on social media for the product, the brand, or the overall topic. Here I'll look to see how people are talking about this topic. What kind of language or terminology are they using? And how they're talking to each other about it. For example, when I was researching kiwi fruit, I noticed that there was some debate online about whether the green or the golden kiwi was better. Here's an example of something I stumbled on while doing my kiwi fruit research. I went to Reddit and just did a general search for kiwi. And one of the posts I found was a picture of someone who had taken a bite out of the kiwi, like straight through the peel, which was obviously intriguing. So I clicked into it and found this in the comment section. What type of psycho eats the peel? Surprisingly, many people do, especially over here in New Zealand. And lucky for me, the brand I was working on is based in New Zealand. So I immediately wrote this down. This is some interesting behavioral thing that could be a perfect insight. So if I were to put that into a sentence to write an insight, I'd say many people in the US would be surprised and weirded out to learn that eating the peel of a kiwi is a normal practice around the world. And that one has both emotional and behavioral elements in it, which is great. right. Another potential insight from that same bit of research on social media was about kiwi skin. After reading the post about how weirded out people were about eating the skin, I started asking myself questions about that. Have people even considered eating the skin of kiwi? What's stopping them from doing that? Is it maybe the fuzz on the kiwi skin that's holding people back from eating it? And after talking to some people around the office, I concluded that yes, kiwi fuzz does in fact freak people out. So I could write that into another insight. People are afraid to eat the kiwi peel because of the fuzz or hair. Another awesome way to find insightful tidbits is to talk to actual humans. In an agency setting, you might have access to qualitative research like focus groups or one-on-one interviews. If you do, I strongly recommend asking the research team to let you see the verbatims. That's where they compile a list of the most interesting direct quotes from the participants. Sure, they're probably going to give you a much shorter summary of the overall takeaways, but I've always just found that reading the exact words and quotes from the people who participated in the research is much more helpful, especially if you're looking for things like language or terminology like we talked about earlier. But if you don't have access to that kind of research, just go talk to people. Ask your friends and family and coworkers the same questions you're looking up on the internet. Why don't you eat kiwi skin? Have you ever tried? Do you eat other fruit with fuzz on it, like peaches? How is that any different? Really interrogate them. It's kind of fun. If you like to think through things and ask yourself questions as you're researching, chances are you've already written down some great insights in your notes. But if you prefer to gather all of your research first and then sit down to pick out insights from it, here are a few tips for you. While you're researching, take notes. Take screenshots. By doing these things, you're immediately telling your brain which pieces of information are the most important. Then once you've gathered all of those notes and screenshots, try to summarize all of that into a couple one-sentence takeaways. There will probably be some insights in those sentences. Look for patterns across all of the different kinds of research you're doing. Remember to think like a stand-up comedian. How they take these mundane thoughts and scenarios that happen in real life and look at it from a different perspective. Look beyond the exact comments and reviews and words themselves. Sometimes you just have to read between the lines a little bit. Find the real reason or emotion that's making people say these things online. For example, when reviewers are complaining about the slow service in the drive-thru of a fast food restaurant, that's telling us there's some kind of insight about people wanting things done fast and having places to be and things to do. Look for help. Sometimes you'll find something that your gut tells you is interesting, but you just don't know what to do with it yet. I still want you to write it down, but you can talk through it with someone else. If you're in an agency setting, this is a perfect thing to bring to your partner because they'll help you build on it. If you're not in that kind of setting, talk to a friend or a roommate about it. Get that outside perspective. Or just write it down and come back to it a week later with your future self. The key is to not let potentially interesting information go just because you don't know what to do with it yet. Trust your gut. So those are a few of my favorite ways to find insights. Like I mentioned in the Intro to Insights video, this is a very complex topic. There isn't one concrete definition of an insight, and there isn't one concrete way to find an insight. Try a bunch of different things and use what works best for you. The main thing I want you to take away from this is an understanding of how to pick out those insight needles from the haystacks of information out in the world. Practice looking through reviews, social media, research, focus groups, what have you, and then practice identifying those golden nuggets of truth that you could potentially center your creative advertising on, because insights are what make campaigns so compelling and engaging. So it is well worth the time it takes to find them. And for my creatives watching, like I mentioned earlier, you probably don't need to worry too much about writing insights into actual statements. But going through all of these techniques that I just shared are perfect ways to spark conceptual ideas. If you're a copywriter staring at a blank piece of paper or an art director struggling to come up with a concept idea, go look for these insightful nuggets and you'll have the beginnings of so many ideas. If you want some practice with insights, I have a little optional assignment for you. Pick one of these topics and go find an insight for it. If you're a strategist, maybe try coming up with a couple different insights. If you're a copywriter or an art director, try using one of the insights that you find to write a couple headlines based on it or come up with an interesting campaign idea. Then if you're comfortable, post what you have in the comments so we can all learn together. Next up, I'm going to be doing a big Q&A all about insights. So if you want clarification on something or have a specific question about insights, just drop all that in the comments and I'll gather all the questions for the next video. Thanks for watching and happy insight hunting.